Hello, I'm Rudradeb and I'm founder of Omdena, and I'm here to speak about building AI for good via global collaboration. Let me take you back to almost a decade ago. In 1906, there's a guy called Francis Galton who did a simple experiment. He gathered a group of 900 people and put an ox in front of them and asked them to guess the weight of the ox. The median of the guesses that all the people in that place did was 543 kilos, while the actual weight of the ox was 545 kilos. And he spoke about something called the wisdom of the crowd, which has been quite evident over the last decades and over the last 100 years. And yet, we hardly use the wisdom of the crowd when we talk about innovation and AI. And the reason is very simple, that many of us think that innovation and AI is supposed to be done by the elites, by the people from the top universities and the top companies, and it's not supposed to be done by the crowd. However, that model has not done any good to us. In fact, 87% of all AI projects and 90% of all innovation projects fail. That means leading to frustration, loss of opportunities, and wasted resources. There's something really wrong in the way innovation and AI is being built. And it's time to change that. And when we look at the understand why is this happening, and one of the core reasons is that this lack of inclusiveness. This attitude that innovation and AI should be built from the top. People in the top universities, research labs, and companies should be the one doing things for the rest of the world is an old concept. That is not inclusive, and that makes people build solutions that are not inclusive. For example, Amazon built a recruitment solution which was sexist because the engineers didn't understood or the biases that was in the data. And another part of that people in these kind of environments work very much in silos. They're not talking to each other, lack of communication, understanding to each other. These are the core reasons of failures. And what we really need to do is to adopt a new fundamental shift in our approach to AI innovation. And no one should doubt that for any organization to succeed in innovation, a more cultural shift is required to a collaborative development process with and for all. In fact, McKinsey also talks about it. They came up with an article a month ago where they write how to build AI with and for everyone in an organization. But the question is McKinsey the right organization to even work on build such solutions? And I think it's time that we have to change the model. The old model of work has to move to a new model of work. And this is also the right time because there has been a cultural shift in how things have happened over the last few years. Due to internet and access to knowledge, a lot of people around the world have now access to knowledge and access to courses that was not there 10 or 15 years ago, or even 5 years ago. Now, anyone sitting in Africa or in Asia or in South America can have access to the same courses that someone in Stanford and MIT and Cambridge has. And this is what needs to be tapped into. What we have been able to build over the last 1 year and 3 months is to be able to tap into this huge opportunity and the potential of the masses, the wisdom of the crowd, of people from all over the world coming together, collaborating and solving interesting problems using AI and machine learning. So till date, we have over 1,300 AI and domain experts from 83 countries who have worked on 23 projects. And this has been a truly an inspiring environment and an experience for me and for everyone part of this project. We have worked with leading organizations in the world, including UNHCR, World Resource Institute, World Energy Council, Watner Foundation. And we have been covered in various places, including Forbes, The Next Web, UNCCD article, IEEE Spectrum. But the question is, who are these collaborators? Who are these people who are coming from all over the world collaborating and building solutions? They are from all backgrounds, as I said. They are from Google and Microsoft, and as well as they are professors in universities, but also from places like Somalia and Sudan and India and South America. In fact, we have our 35% collaborators are females, and 35 of our leading machine learning engineers are also female. And our collaborators come from all the continents and have experience from 12 months to 15 years, age from 17 to 65. And that is a truly diverse environment to build solutions. I thought of giving a few examples of work that we have done till date. For example, we worked with World Food Program in Nepal to classify the type of crops that are being grown. This would help to fight hunger. Or we have worked in Brazil to detect forest fire. Or it worked in Sweden with a startup to detect trees so that they can prevent the trees from falling over on top of the power overhead cables, leading to loss of power as well as fire. We have also worked on natural language processing, for example, in Chicago to predict gang violence, understanding what gangs are talking to each other. We have worked with World Energy Council to understand the public sentiments towards clean energy transition, or World Resource Institute to understand what causes land conflicts and the policies that are in a way to affect those land conflicts. We have worked in AI planning too. We have worked in Istanbul, where the planning algorithm was built to reunite families after an earthquake. Or in India, that whenever someone faces a sexual harassment, how to find a safest route to the nearest safe area, which is a police station or a hospital. And we have worked with World Food Program to build a planning algorithm for relief after a disaster hits, primarily a cyclone. I've thought of giving two case studies that is quite relevant, specifically in Africa. So one was we worked with a renewable NGO based in Nigeria to identify the most impactful areas for solar installation. And in Somalia, we worked with UNHCR to predict the conflicts. So for example, in Nigeria, what we did is there was an NGO that came to us and they asked us that they would like to identify areas in Nigeria which are best suitable for solar power adoption. And they didn't want to show that to the policymakers in Nigeria. So first of all, in the left-hand side, as you can see in the screen, it's the population density. The green areas are less dense and the red areas more dense. And you can see the superimpose of the nighttime light in Nigeria. So this shows you very clearly there are parts of Nigeria which is dark and highly populated, which definitely need some solar power or any other form of power. On the right-hand side, we also then mapped the overhead cable lines of Nigeria. And this data was not easily available, so we had to do some data crunching. We have to even use satellite images to build this model. Once we identified the national grid, the electricity grid, and then we found out there are areas which are far away from national grid, but at the same time, which is highly densely populated. In fact, I also remember for the population density, at certain points, we have to use satellite images to identify the kind of number of houses in a given area. So we then identify clusters of 4,000 people without electricity and more than 15 kilometers from grid. So even if they end up creating more and more electricity, these are the people who would not get typically the electricity. And then we finally build a map, which is an interactive map, which you can still go and see, where we define different clusters in Nigeria. You can zoom in and kind of see where are those areas that require solar power. This is currently being showed and demonstrated to policymakers in Nigeria so that they can make a decision in favor of solar power in certain parts of Nigeria. The other work that we did with UNHCR was to predict conflicts in Somalia. So to do that, we mapped the vegetation index over the last 8 to 10 years in Somalia. And what we then saw that whether there is a correlation between vegetation index and the conflict deaths. And as you can see, this is one of the areas of Somalia, and we can clearly see that as the vegetation index, which is represented by the blue line, decreases, the number of deaths increases sharply within a certain period of time. So by having this model, organizations and governments can actually prevent conflicts and conflict deaths in Somalia. So before I conclude, I want to be sure and I want to stress that collaboration is the future of AI innovation. That this is the only way to build the future of AI and innovation, because we have to involve people who are facing the problem to build the solutions in a truly bottom-up environment. I don't think anymore AI or innovation will be built by people from the top. People sitting in Silicon Valley and in London and in MIT are not suitable to build solutions for people in Africa and Asia. And this is what we are trying to show and demonstrate. We have also seen that there are a lot of benefits of using AI innovation to bottom-up collaboration. One of the first things is it's quite fast to try different models because you're bringing a lot of people together. The data gathering, cleaning, and wrangling, it goes at a phenomenal speed. Also because a lot of people get the local context, so they really know where to look for data. The solutions that we'll be building are more ethical, inclusive, and trustable, just because people who are building it is part of the solution, and they would never build something that is unethical because they are going to be the one who are going to also use it. And another part of benefit of involving the masses is to reskill and upskilling the people who are collaborating by building a real world solution. That also increases the trust in AI solutions, because they would not see AI solutions as a way to take away jobs, but something that will empower them. So thanks a lot for listening to me. Before the end, I want to tell a quote that was from Omdena, who was the co-founder of Renewable Africa, and who said that Omdena has changed his lives. And this is what we are looking for going forward. Thanks a lot. Feel free to follow us in our LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. And that's our website. And feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Thank you.